So here I'm showing you the basic technologies that you will be needing in a HyFlex or hybrid setup. So the first one are the devices. The devices that the students will be using. It can either be a tablet or a desktop computer or a laptop computer. This will also be about the devices that the teachers will be using. Will they bring their own device, or will we use the resources of the school? Is there an internet, a stable internet connection in your school? Will you need to upgrade? Will you need to find ways to make sure that the bandwidth that you're using is enough to accommodate your HyFlex or hybrid setup? What are the apps that you will be using for the setup? You will need also a webcam, so there is there's a better chance for the collaboration to happen. Do you have projector and a screen so that you will both showcase your resources and the students will be able to see them properly? Do you have TV or LED monitors that you can use so that you will also be able to see others when they are, for example, in the virtual classroom? And you have speakers so you can hear the sound or hear each other. And of course, a microphone so that it will be stable enough and it will be clear enough when you hear it. Okay, so when I was preparing for this particular talk, I got a chance to go through the DepEd School Safety Assessment Tool. And it's a tool wherein schools are able to assess their readiness to participate in a pilot face-to-face learning modality during the pandemic. And while I was going through it, actually it's a very, very good tool to be able to prepare you and to tell you exactly what you need. So for this particular talk, there will be areas or a few tips that I will be discussing from this particular tool to help you prepare for whatever you're supposed to do. So I put into consideration this particular part of the tool, which is classroom layout and infrastructure. It says here that the school has established a mechanism inside the classroom to ensure the minimal risk of COVID transmission between learners. So what are the things that we should be doing when the students are inside the school? So first, there must be social distancing. We already know this. And what is the maximum size of class size of students that are allowed inside the classroom? So it differs from kinder to senior high. So you just take into consideration those kinds of things. And then it also discusses about the layout or the how the classroom will look like. It says there that the number of seats should not exceed the number of maximum learners. So for example, if the class is only allowed 20 students, there should be no more than 20 chairs or tables in the classroom. I also like that it mentions there the presence of markers to manage the traffic system or the physical distancing of the students. So when you go through the actual tool, it actually gives you step-by-step instructions on what you need to take into consideration when you're talking about classroom layout and infrastructure. It also talks about proper ventilation. I remember when the pandemic started, we didn't know how it was transmitted, right? We were so unsure of what will happen if we are all in the same place, how is it transmitted from one person to another. So that particular tool also talks about proper ventilation. So if you look at this slide, you will see here the things that you should be taking into consideration when you are preparing for the infrastructure of your school. So first, do you have electric fans? Or if you have air cons, what do you plan to do? Do you plan to open the windows or doors? Because it says in the actual tool that windows and doors should be open the entire time. Do you have a ventilation system, a filtration system, or a sterilization box so that you'll be able to assure the students that when they enter the room, it's clean or hygienic enough for everyone? Okay. What you're looking right now are images of actual hybrid classes or setup or structures. See here that it actually is from a 2014 document. So if you're going to think about it, hybrid has always been there. I think it started in the early 2000, and a lot of schools already have tried using the hybrid setup. And if you take a look at this example, you will see that there are a lot of things that you can already integrate in your classes or in your schools. So for this particular example, we have here a few students who are on the site itself or on site itself, and the other students are projected on the screen. And it's really funny because the position of the students who are in the Zoom, for example, or in the virtual classroom, is like they're actually sitting down and on the on-site setup. So it's also facing the teacher or facing the one who's giving the instructions. This one is an example of a smaller group, but this time a chance for on-site students to come together, to group or to have somewhat like a pair work, okay? And if you're going to observe the photo, you will see that there's one member of the pair is on site and the other one is online. So these are the things that actually are a little bit challenging for those who want to do hybrid or high flex setup. How will you do group work? Do you plan to include everyone in the same Zoom or in the same Meet? And then do you want them to go into breakout sessions? And what are they supposed to do? Here is also another way of setting up your virtual space and your on-site space. So there's an actual instructor station who's actually just sitting down there. There's a secondary monitor. And then there's a tripod which contains participants who are actually in the virtual class. So, but because they're facing the teacher, it somewhat like gives them like a face-to-face perspective of how it is to be in the on-site class. And this is the actual look of how a virtual class looks like. So there you can see not only, if you're going to observe, this is also a good observation or a good thing to remember. You just don't see the instructor talking about the lesson, for example, or giving the lecture. You will also see a particular video wherein the students are the ones who are shown. So somewhat like there's the one in the virtual class can actually feel what is happening in the classroom. Okay, so here's another example. So if you want, you can also put a big TV monitor wherein the students who are online can see the classes, the students who are on site, and then those who are on site can actually see those who are online. Okay. And then I also chanced upon a new article. It was, I think, 16 days ago, and it showed us actual examples of very beautiful learning spaces in 4 countries, actually. Belgium, England, Finland, and Netherlands. When I saw this, I thought to myself, this is the ideal hybrid, high-flex setup. But if you can actually look at the picture and if you observe the picture, I'm sure you'll need to pay a lot to actually be able to produce it. But there are other options that you can do to have this particular setup.